Hey, how's everybody doing? I hope you're well. I just want to let you know I have an alarm set on my phone because at 5:30 Pacific or 8:30 Eastern, I'm allowed to show you pictures of the Hyundai Tucson, and they're on my computer here, and you will see them exactly at 5:30 or 8:30 Eastern. So that is the big reveal this evening is the all new Hyundai Tucson. So I can't tell you more about it for another 29 minutes, but we'll do that. Oh wait, I have my script here. I did a little. The video's done, and the video will be going out in about an hour. There's some embargoed images of the car that I was given in advance, and I'm not allowed to show them until 9:10 Eastern or 6:10 Pacific. So I can show you the pictures, but the video I can't play. Okay. When you get this information from the car companies, you agree to play along with them to not show or say anything about the car until a certain time, and I agree to that. So I will honor that. In addition, there is a new Nissan 400Z or 400Z prototype, and that video will be dropping tomorrow. So the Hyundai Tucson is this evening. Tomorrow, around the same time, we'll see the new Nissan 400Z or Z. That's going to be tomorrow, and it will be here on the channel as well. Okay, so what do we have this evening? We don't have any pictures. If you want to send a picture in of your vehicle, send it to zack@motormouth.ca, zack@motormouth.ca, or zack.motormouth.ca. We do have one video, though, and it's our pal Alex in Israel. Where is it? It's our friend. Let me try it again. We do have one video, though, and it's from our friend Alex in Israel.
Hey Zach, I hope you're well with this whole COVID-19 situation. And I here in the middle of the desert, 45 degrees Celsius, ridiculously hot. And I want to ask you a question about the Skoda or Skoda in English. Why did it never get in North American market? I think it's such a shame because it's a great car. It's like a Volkswagen, but with more features and less price. It's like cheap budget Audi. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. Alex, thank you for taking part in the show. Alex has been a regular contributor. If you want to get a video question in, same address, zack@motormouth.ca. If you have a picture of your car or a video question, send it along. So first of all, before I get into answering your question, Alex, about a month or so ago, Andrea and we did a video on the Cadillac CT5V. And we referenced our binge show when COVID started, which was Ray Donovan. And we watched all 6+ series of Ray Donovan. Absolutely love that show. And we've been trying to find another show that we like as much. And we found it. And when Alex is standing there in the desert in Israel in the heat, the show is an Israeli Netflix show called Fauda. 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 And there's 3 series, and it's really good. It's dubbed from Hebrew, and there's some subtitles. When they speak Arabic, they put subtitles on, but it's in English, dubbed from the original Hebrew. So it's a great show. Fauda, Fauda. You might have seen it on Netflix. If you haven't started watching it, watch it. Anyway, that's an aside. But to your question, Alex, yeah, the Skoda or Skoda brand really came out of the roots of Eastern Europe when the wall came down and the Soviet basically the USSR failed and the Soviets left and the pieces were picked up and Volkswagen Group took that over. And they basically kept it as a regional player. And you're absolutely right. If you don't know what Skoda is or Skoda, they take an existing Volkswagen platform and they make it less expensive. But to Alex's point, often they add some really nice features. And there's another regional player that Volkswagen Group also owns, and that's Seat. Seat is really a Spanish originated brand. It's sold in southern European countries like in Italy, Spain, and Portugal. Seat is very, very popular. Same thing again. They take an existing Volkswagen platform and they make it into a Seat. And for big chunks of Europe and obviously in Israel, they sell Skoda as well. And I just think it comes down to the fact that they don't have a dealer network. They already have an existing Volkswagen dealer group, so they just focus on the Volkswagen cars. Okay, let's get into the questions. Barrick is back. Good to see you here. What are your thoughts on the new 2021 BMW 4 Series grille? Well, at first blush, I think it's kind of hideous, to be honest with you. But I guarantee you, it's going to be one of those things that when you see it, you're like, I don't know if you've seen it, but the 4 Series has this big, looks like Bugs Bunny teeth grill, way oversized. But I think it's probably going to be one of those things that 6 months later down the road, you look at it and you go, it's not too bad. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's different, that's for sure. Sam is saying many manufacturers aren't offering 0% financing or anywhere close. Why do you think that is? Is it a supply-demand issue? Well, initially, when we had COVID hit, car manufacturers did, for the most part, offer 0% interest for leasing and financing because they needed to stimulate the market. What's happened is the market has rebounded so dramatically that a lot of dealerships have a shortage of cars. Because everything was shut down, including manufacturing, when the market opened up again, so many of those cars were gobbled up, and the manufacturing slowly coming back. They haven't filled the pipe yet. So once manufacturing gets to the point where they have enough supply, then you might start to see some incentives in play. What I would say is the real effect of COVID and the downturn isn't going to be felt until the next few months. Excuse me. And that's because a lot of the deferrals that banks have been granting businesses and homeowners and things they're going to end. So people are deferring their mortgage. People are deferring rent if they own a restaurant. And I think probably in the next 6 months, you're going to see some businesses fail, especially in the entertainment industry. And I think we're going to start to see a drag on the economy. Right now, we're kind of in this honeymoon stage where, I don't think the real effect of COVID is hit yet. That's good. It's good for people who are buying a car because I think there will be better deals. Excuse me. Hi, Zach, or should I say Captain Spencer? I'm not sure what that means. Which suspension setup is best for the new Macan with 21-inch wheels? PASM or air suspension? Best Clive. The one thing that Macan does not have is PDCC, which is Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control. It is in the larger Cayenne, and it isn't in Macan. And I had a conversation with one of the chassis engineers at Porsche when I was driving the Taycan earlier this year when we were in Norway. And he said it's because of the size of the vehicle, it doesn't need it because it's lighter than those vehicles. I'm not a big fan of air suspension. I'm just going to be clear with you. It's not my favorite. So I would probably not get the air suspension, but I'm sure the dealer will be happy to let you try it with and without. And that's what I suggest you do. Which vehicle would you pick, a 15 CX-5 or a 16 Venza? Well, these are so different. The Venza is a much bigger car, and it is more of a car than the CX-5, which is still a classic utility shape. The Venza I would call like a tall wagon. It really is a Camry wagon that's a little bit higher. It has an enormous amount of space, huge, much bigger side to side, way more legroom, big cargo area. So I put it back on you. What do you put a priority on? If you put a priority on handling and nimbleness, then the CX-5's the one you want. If you're putting a priority on space, room, and cargo capacity and all that, the Venza's the one you want. Okay, let me just see. C Square is saying, hit the like button, everybody. That's good. Yeah, we're already up to 130 views on right now. That's good. Do you think turbocharged, supercharged cars can be replaced by hybrid electric drivetrains? Having driven both, how do they compare? Well, they have advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantages of a turbocharged engine is often you have to get the RPMs of the engine up in order to take advantage of turbocharging. So you don't get instant torque. With electric motors, you get instant torque at 0 RPM. So as soon as, it's like a switch, as soon as you hit the throttle, you get 100% torque. You can't get that with a turbocharged engine. Supercharged is a little bit better because it's a mechanical system versus turbochargers work on gas. But they have their benefits, especially for a long distance, high speed driving. Where a hybrid or an electric car isn't as capable of doing, unless you have an enormous battery, long speed runs, where that's where those vehicles really benefit. But if you're just looking for pure acceleration and performance, yeah, if you have a hybrid or an electric vehicle, can easily outperform a gasoline or a turbo or supercharged engine. We have a super chat from Richard T. Thank you very much. Hey Zach, beer o'clock. Greetings from Chestermere, Alberta. Your thoughts between a 1516 Touareg TDI and a Jeep Grand Cherokee Eco Diesel with Blue Tech. Second, I have to get Jack. No beer o'clock. You know what I had? I got an update on my phone. I used to have this Edge thing where I could, I'll just do this way. Where I could just swipe and all my favorites were there, but now it's gone. Oh man, Jack, we'll get there. My thoughts on the TDI versus the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Okay, there were initial teething problems with the Eco Diesel engines in the Grand Cherokee. The opposite is true of the TDI engines in the Touareg. The Touareg, that was at the end, the very end of its run. So a 16 would be the very last one that you could get of a Touareg. Now, the emissions scrubbing is the bugaboo for all of them, right? So the TDI engines that have been updated and have the new software and are now cleared to drive, there are reports of some driving issues with them, and other people have zero issues. We have the same engine in our Cayenne. We have had the software updates done to it. The engine drives fine. In fact, it's fantastic. It gets great fuel economy. The torque is good. It's driving very close to the way it was originally produced, even with the software changes they made to it. Now, I know with the diesel engines in the Grand Cherokee did have some emissions scrubbing issues, and you would go into limp mode, and we did have one that we drove that had that happen to it. So what I would do is go to a web forum for Jeep diesel owners and see what they say. They might have had those issues cleared, because Bosch is the common factor in all of them. Bosch is the company that makes the scrubbing for the diesel engines, and they share that. The block and all of that is different, but the scrubbing system is quite similar. All right, let's get to some other questions here. Any updates on the 2021 Sienna and Chrysler Pacifica hybrid review? If you can get both of them to do a comparison. I can find out. I don't have the Pacifica hybrid in the press fleet yet. The Sienna will be a chance to drive it in November. Okay, that's the soonest we can get it. Do you think that showing young new drivers some dash cam videos would help to teach them how things can quickly go wrong and cure them of their initial overconfidence? Yeah, going to a wrecking yard isn't a bad thing to do either, because you see the cars look so, strong, and the big fenders and the bumpers and everything. And then if you actually go and see how easily a modern car just crumples and can disintegrate based on a bad accident, I do kind of agree with you. A lot of the driving issues that you have with a lot of young drivers just comes down to them not looking far enough ahead. And Jack, my son, who's not bringing me a beer, we took him out driving for the very first time. So he did his very first driving with his mom and I in the new Honda Civic, and it was it was interesting. A second, I'm going to try and get him here. Jack, why is this not coming up? Oh, here we go. Now I see it. Beer o'clock. It came up Derek Locke. I'll just scoop Bureau Lock, see what he does. So we went out driving, and you can really see with a new driver that they're just looking right in front of them. Learning to drive well is all about looking as far down the road as you can. You want to look where you want to go, not what you're going to hit. Because if you look at what you're going to hit, you will hit it. But yeah, it's not a bad idea. Hey, how are you? Thoughts on studded winter tires. Can anyone buy them? I'm in the GTA. The last I remember hearing on the legislation for the province of Ontario is that you can have studded tires for northern parts of Ontario. So for the GTA, from what I understand, studded tires are not allowed because they do chew up the road. Now there are some new sort of like, they're not made out of metal, they're made out of carbon. They're different kind of studs. Nokian has them. So what you need to do is check with a tire retailer in the GTA and ask them. I still believe that you can have studded tires for northern parts of Ontario, but not for the GTA. And you don't need them. If you have a good set of winter tires, you'll be just fine. What are your thoughts on the Lexus LFA? Have you ever driven one? I've driven one very shortly, didn't do a video on it. I think it's a unique looking car, a bit over-styled for my taste. It's interesting when you see these sort of futuristic cars when they first come out, and then you look at them later on. The styling doesn't really hold up. Now, the exterior styling is a good-looking car. It's the interior. And that's one of the things we're going to start to see as we go over the next few years is what we thought was futuristic in 2020. You'll look back at it and go, I don't know about that. But yeah, the LFA was the DNA for what they wanted to do with the Lexus brand, whether it was the big grille or the interior design. I mean, if you look at the LFA interior and you look at the, what is it, the RC, what's it called again? The two-door version. Whatever, I can't think of the name just now. You see a lot of similarities. What do you think of the 991.1? I'm trying to get a pre-owned one. Yeah, it's a great car. Why not? There really wasn't that much difference between the 991 first generation and the second generation. Not like the 997. The 997.1 and the 997.2, there was a big difference. They changed engines and all that kind of stuff. And I think they did also for the 991. But yeah, I think it's a great car. Make sure you get it looked at, checked, all that kind of stuff. Is the Atlas Crossport one of the largest non-three-row SUVs? Want something larger than RDX, Q5, X3, golf clubs, etc.? Yeah, it's big. So basically, you have the same wheelbase as Atlas, and you have the same back seat room as Atlas, and then you have an enormous cargo area. It's a little bit shorter, but still huge when it comes to interior space. So the other contenders would be the Honda Passport, which is the same thing. They took the Pilot, left the back seat and wheelbase the same length. They made the cargo area without a third row. So the Passport would be one. I would say a Jeep Grand Cherokee would be another. But yeah, it's probably one of the bigger ones. I would check the dimensions. Go on the websites and check the wheelbase and the dimensions between the Passport and the Atlas. And probably the Atlas is a little bit bigger. So if you want space, you don't need that third row of seats. Go for it. And they did the exact same thing with the Audi Q8 is a Q7. The same treatment to it. Steve Mann is saying, we just got a Venue about a month ago. I'd love to hear how you like it. Do you like it? I guess you did. You bought it. Hey, Zach, why do you think Mazda sedans are selling so poorly? I think they're a function of the market and the way that it's going. People are just buying utilities. And I think that, come in. Thanks, Jack. Show everybody your new shirt. Oh, he's got he buys all these fancy sweatshirts. This one I like because it's got this BMW on it.
This way, yeah. There you go.
So what's going on with sports, Jack? Raptors are out.
Raptors are out.
Actually, somebody said on the live chat that they come here just for your sports handicap.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Okay, who's looking good for NFL?
Seattle. They won by 13. Kansas City. I mean, all the usual suspects. Buffalo.
Buffalo, that's my team. And how was your first time driving?
I don't know. Was I good or not?
You got work to do.
Yeah, well, it was my first time. So
you got some work to do. We got to get at it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jack. There you go. There he goes. With Stella o'clock. Excuse me for coughing. We have an incredible amount of smoke here in Vancouver. The air quality in Vancouver is second lowest in the world, second only to Oregon, which is where a lot of these fires are coming from. So yeah, big forest fires up and down the west coast, not really in British Columbia, and we typically get bad forest fire, but the smoke here is just unbelievable. You can't see the mountains, you can't see much of anything. And I've noticed it the last couple of days. I kind of borderline asthma, and I've noticed it. So why are Mazda sedans selling so poorly? First of all, it's a function of the market. People are moving towards utilities. The CX-30 has taken off. It's done very well. People are really enjoying it. They're just moving towards utilities. And I don't think that they ever had a story that contended with the Accord and the Camry. The Accord and the Camry are just so synonymous with mid-size sedans that the Mazda 6 never really had a chance. And yeah, I don't know. They have some very good cars. I've said for years, the Mazda 6 is the best car nobody buys. If you had to choose a last vehicle, new or old, to drive for the rest of your life, what would it be? Well, I never want to... Somebody brought this up the other day at dinner. They said, oh, I'm going to buy my last car. I'm like, I never, ever want to be that guy. Well, this will be my last car. No, I'm always planning on what my next car is going to be. But if I had to go the rest of my days with one car that I had to use for all kinds of stuff, it might be an E39 M5. Manual transmission, V8, 400 horsepower, V8, naturally aspirated. Now, you need a boatload of money to keep it running, but that would be a pretty cool car. And if you could get the wagon version of that we never got in North America, that would be even cooler. Hey, Zach, could you tell me, my 17-year-old son, his first car should be a beater, not a WRX STI. Do not let your 17-year-old get an STI WRX. If you want to call from, yes, it's the police. Your car's wrapped around a tree, and by the way, your kid's inside it. Why would you want that? Your car, the first car should be slow, not that powerful, have as many safety aids as you can afford. A WRX STI is just a recipe for trouble. So I don't think, you have to, put it this way. If you go skiing for the first time, you've never gone skiing, do they take you to top of Whistler and send you down a double black diamond run with downhill racing skis on? No, because you will wipe out. They take you to the bunny hill and they start you out with little short skis and then they build you up to go to the top of the mountain. It's the same with driving. You do not have the ability to drive a WRX STI at pace. Anybody can drive a fast car slow. It's when you start driving a fast car fast. It goes from I'm in control to, oh my God, I'm going to hit that tree, to I hit that tree, like that. I just think it's a terrible idea to give a new driver a powerful car. Hey, Zach, can you ask an engineer if that is the best way to prolong the clutch, and is it okay to skip gears when you change gears in a manual? Releasing the clutch in first gear and let the engine lug. Release the clutch in first gear and let the engine lug. Okay, a couple of things about a manual transmission. Shifting gears from, say you go to first to third, or you go fifth down to third, or you go fourth down to second, you can skip gears. It is not going to hurt your transmission at all. All you're doing with the clutch is you're releasing that connection between the drivetrain of the engine and the rest of the car. Okay, what you do with the transmission, other than reverse, obviously, is fine. You don't want to try and force the car into first gear while the car is still rolling at a speed that's more than just a mile or two an hour. Okay, you want to be as close as you can to stopped to put the transmission into first gear. But yeah, you can short shift the transmission. You can go from second over to fourth, or when you're coming to a corner, you go from fourth down to second. That's not going to hurt it at all. Okay, so you want to prolong a clutch. So I think what you're saying is, instead of going on and off the clutch, leave the car in first gear and then just drive along at low speed. It's not really going to hurt the clutch. It might bog down the engine. The main thing with driving a manual transmission and saving the clutch is being fairly precise with the on and off, right? So some clutches have a very precise pressure point. You know when the clutch is engaged and you know when the clutch is disengaged. It can be very kind of on and off, quite linear. Other clutches, it's really kind of this mushy feeling. It's very vague. Honda Civics are kind of like that. So the number one piece of advice I can give you, someone who's been driving manual transmissions my whole life, is just engage the clutch as quickly that makes it comfortable, and don't feather it on and off. Okay, that's probably the best way. Somebody's saying that the live stream has stopped. Are you guys getting me okay? Sean is saying, how's the smoke? Yeah, it's bad here. Would you recommend BMW M240i xDrive over Cayman GTS? I'm really torn if I should go with the Porsche. It's really that much better for weekend driver. If it's just a weekend driver, Cayman GTS. Sorry, I thought you meant Cayman GTS. These are both fantastic cars. I really do believe that they're both great cars. So that's a tough one. I'm always going to go Porsche over the BMW. I just think that's just, especially a GTS. Yeah, Cayman GTS over a 240 for sure. Yeah, if it's just a weekend car. And there's something about the ownership of having that car which is really unique. I mean, if you have a Cayman GTS, you're not going to see that many around. You're not going to see probably another one on the road through the year. And the fact that you have one and you own it, you can look at it during the week and take it out on the weekend for some fun. Yeah, that would be my choice. I mean, you can get a 240 anytime. Anytime. Let me just say, yeah, they say the stream is fine. Thank you, everybody. Somebody said it had stopped, so I don't sure. It might have been just their connection. Hey, Zach, when there's a media blackout with pre-production cars or cars you get to drive but can't talk about driving impressions, why do car companies do this? Just to build hype? No. What they do is they allow everybody the opportunity to get the information on the car or to drive the car when we would go to a media launch event, and gives everybody a chance to drive the car and to prepare the material in an amount of time that allows them to do that. So, for example, if I would go, I just want to look at my clock here because I have 2 minutes before I can show you the new Hyundai Tucson. So I would say I would fly to Europe and I would drive a new Audi. And they would say, okay, a week from now, the embargo lifts and everybody can share their information. So I drove it for one day and then I fly home. But there's another wave of journalists. They drive it for a day. And then a day after them, another wave of journalists. So everybody has to get a chance to drive it. And then we wait. And then when that embargo lifts, everybody releases the information. So it's not really so much to build hype. It's just to give everybody the opportunity to get the information. So what will happen now is after 8:30 Eastern or 5:30 here Pacific, if you type in Hyundai Tucson, there will be story after story popping up that have just been published. And that's why they do it. So we got 1 more minute to go and then I can show you this car. Hey, Zach, would you pay for ceramic coating? I know you got your Cayenne done for a deal, but would you spend the cash to get it done? It depends on the car. Like we just got a new Honda Civic. I don't think I'm going to spend the $1,000 or so to get that done on a Honda Civic. But if I bought a brand new, high-end premium car and it was brand new, which is when the best chance to get it coated, I would. I would get it done. Oh, there's the alarm. Okay. All right. I would get it done for a high-end car. Okay, let's get into the pictures. Here is the Hyundai Tucson. Are you guys ready? Let me go down here and do these ones first. So there it is. There is the new Hyundai Tucson. The new Hyundai Tucson is now going to be sold in Canada and the US as a long wheelbase. It is not a three-row utility. It's just a larger version of the Tucson and is not going to be sold outside of North America. All right, I'm going to go through these. There it is again. In my opinion, it's got a lot of busyness in the side profile. You see that with all the creases. And the back, it looks a bit like a Mustang Mach-E taillight cluster along with Toyota Highlander fenders. Is it just me? It looks kind of like a Hyundai Tucson Highlander Mustang from that angle. All right, here's some more of them. So there it is, Hyundai Tucson. That looks very Highlander to me. There's another one. That's the back. I like the tail lamps. I think they look kind of like Mustang tail lamps. It's not bad. And what I said in the video, which will be going out in about 40 minutes, is that at least it's different, right? There's the interior. It's got two 10-inch screens stacked on top of each other. So if you look at the center, there's two screens stacked. They're 10.25 inches each. And there are no hard keys. They've gotten rid of buttons. Everything is touch sensitive now. Don't like that. There it is at night. And you see the LED projector, the LED daytime running lights are integrated into the grille, which gives it a very upscale kind of look. And there's the back. There's certain angles of it I certainly do think look pretty good. All right, what do you guys think of that? What do you think of that? Whoa, the Tucson is hideous. I don't know. I think we have to wait. Holy crap, just drove an ND Miata. I know what my next car will be. Now to wine and dine the wife until she says yes. Here's my advice. Just get the car and then beg for forgiveness. That's how you do it. All right. So you guys can jump in there. Front end of the new Tucson is very Mercedes-Benz EQC. Yeah, you're right. Now that you mention that, absolutely. Tucson looks avant-garde. Nice to me. There's certain. I think it's going to be one of those vehicles that once you see it, you're going to be impressed with it. So what's interesting is they made this long wheelbase for us chubby North Americans, but no third row seat. Like for Tiguan, they brought out a long wheelbase for North America, but they had the option to add a third row, which they don't have. Dennis P is saying enough with those tablets. I'm kind of agreeing with you. This is lost focus. Yeah, I'm not loving all the touchscreens. I'm hoping that one day there's going to be a brand that goes totally retro and gives us old school buttons and knobs. I guess Mini does that. Looks like a Murano from the front. Yeah, it kind of does. Front end is crap. Everything else is fine. Interior looks interesting. Front of Mercedes EQC, back of Ford Mach-E. Very strange sidelines. All right, let me just show a couple of those pictures again. So that's the inside. I don't mind the inside, except for the fact that there's no switches. The back I like. This I like. This is the new Tucson, by the way. If you're just tuning in, they just revealed the new Tucson. There's the side. Busy. I call it busy. It's very Highlander. Looks like a Highlander to me from the side. There's the same picture. There's the back. I don't mind that. And there's the front. I think it looks like the Mercedes. I kind of agree with you there. There you go. Okay, let's get back to our questions. So the video I did will be dropping at 10 minutes after 9 Eastern and 10 minutes after 6 here on the West Coast. Okay. And then tomorrow, if you're just missing it now, tomorrow the 400Z or 400Z prototype video will drop. I have the pictures here on my computer. And I think, I can't say what I think, but I think it's going to be interesting for you to watch it and see what you think. Hey, Zach, you should do a review of a 335 IS. Interestingly, I think Cornelius at Core Cars said he might have one. I do love that car. The 335 was a fantastic car. I'm looking to buy a Honda Accord Sport with a stick, probably around 15. Good choice or something else? So that's the last of the. That's the last car, not the current one, because the current one is an 18, I believe, or a 19. I like that car a lot. I think that Sport, that generation of Accord, they did a really good job on the styling. My parents bought 2 Škodas in the mid 80s. Not sure how many they sold back then, but never saw any others on the road back then. So I think those were the real Škodas, not the Volkswagen Group Škodas that they probably had. Please also ask the best way to start off in first gear to prolong the clutch, to give it more gas and let it out, or less gas and let it lug a bit. Okay, so when you're engaging first gear, what you want to do is it depends on the engine you have. If you have an engine that has a lot of torque, you can just let out the clutch, and when you start to feel it grab, then you release it all the way. As you're applying, it's this dance, right? So as you feel the clutch start to grab, you want to engage it so that it's not slipping, it's actually grabbing, and then apply the correct amount of throttle. What that amount of throttle is just practice and error, trial and error, practice. You have to figure it out. But staying just off that pressure point, being on and off it, that's when you're getting the slipping, that's when you're getting excess wear. So if you're driving along at slow speeds in bumper-to-bumper traffic, you can let the engine just, drive along, and you're not going to hurt it by doing that, unless it's an engine that you're bogging down too much. Okay, let me get back to where I was here. I was looking for a super chat. I thought we had another super chat. Let me just see. Just want to check. We don't miss out on the super chat. Did I miss a super chat? There it is. Like the way you think. Buy and ask for forgiveness. That's right. So you get an MX-5 and then you just say, honey, you're gonna love it. That is a great car. It is a great car. The MX-5 Miata is one of the best cars ever made, period. And anybody that differs doesn't know what they're talking about. Oh, I can turn my thing down. No, I turn the alarm off. Okay. I got to catch up where I was. Hang on a second. I'll get there. Hey, Zach, $50,000 for 2-door sports car, new or used. I want highest residual value after 3 years. Which one would you pick? I would say if you want highest residual value after 3 years, you're probably and you want a 2-door sports car, your best bet is to buy a Porsche. They just have incredible resale value. If it's just about resale value, that one's a pretty easy one. Queen's Half Gorgie, welcome back. Sister-in-law just bought a 16 IS350 F Sport, which has staggered tires. I thought only higher-end performance vehicles had staggered tires, like Porsche GTR, etc. I don't remember the IS350 coming with staggered wheels. So staggered wheels, if you're not familiar, is the rear wheels, typically with a rear wheel drive or a rear wheel bias all-wheel drive system, are wider than they are at the front. That's a staggered wheel. So when you buy tires, you have to buy two wheels tires at the back that are larger than the two tires at the front. I don't remember that being the case. You might be right, but yeah, typically it's a trend we're starting to see more of, as it's a way for car companies to give you better handling and so on without having to change too much about the car. Just give you more tire at the back. Richard McFarland, what happened to the Infiniti Q30? I'm not sure. Has it been discontinued? Has it disappeared? So that was the GLA that they rebadged as an Infiniti. I maybe saw 2 or 3 on the road. It was basically a rebadged Mercedes. Is Lexus going to make a newer upgraded IS350? I really like the Lexus luxury with Toyota reliability. Yes, there's a new IS coming. It's more of a facelift than anything else. Also, didn't realize tires are so expensive for vehicles with staggered tires. Well, I'm not sure it's got anything to do with the fact that they're staggered tires. It's just got to do with the fact that you've got to buy bigger tires. And when you buy bigger tires, they're more expensive. And typically cars with staggered wheels have, 19 or 20 inch wheels. So 19 or 20 inch tires are bigger, and the wider the tire and the lower the profile of the tire, the more expensive they are. Hey, your opinion on a 14 328D Touring. Well, first of all, that's a bit of a unicorn. You're going to have a hard time finding another one. So if you get it inspected and checked and it's a good one, maybe a cool car to have. So that's the 4-cylinder diesel engine. BMW diesel engines are notorious for having lots of power and being really some of the best diesel engines that are available in the marketplace. So that is a car you certainly want to have checked by somebody that knows 2 things, BMWs and diesel engines, and get it checked. It could be totally fine. Car's 6 years old, so there could be some other things to look at, but a bit of a unicorn. There will always be somebody that wants that car. So the marketplace for a diesel station wagon from BMW is going to be quite small, but those dudes, they want it. And they're going to want it. And there's always going to be a market for that car. It's going to be small, but a very intense sort of a cult following for a vehicle like that. And because diesel engines are pretty much all gone except for now domestic trucks, the diesel fans have fewer and fewer options out there in the marketplace. So I truly believe that diesel fans are willing to pay more for those cars because they just want to get them. Rick is saying, I also went back and forth between the VW and Jeep, ended up getting the Grand Cherokee Eco Diesel because I want a better 4-wheel drive system. No issue so far, really like it. That's what we got to love about these live chats. We got a community of people. So the question earlier was TDI Touareg or Grand Cherokee Eco Diesel. There you go. Richard's got one and he's happy with it. Why did Mazda cheapen the suspension this time around? It's as fun to drive as the Grand Touring 2.5 that my had before. It's different. It's a very level car. So the back independent suspension is now a torsion beam, and it acts almost like a leveling. The car tracks very, very neutrally. Kind of from the back. It's a great car to drive on the highway, very comfortable, but it's not the same as having an independent rear suspension. Why did they do that? I asked that. They didn't really give me a good answer, or an answer I thought was worth passing on. Looking for my first car, a Corvette C8. Thoughts on this? I want something sporty. Go for it. If you want a Corvette, go for it. Hey, Zach, what really happened to Infiniti QX30? Do you know if Infiniti is planning on creating their own version of a small crossover? Well, they do have the relationship with Mercedes and Nissan and Infiniti. So the engines, by the way, are made by Nissan for Mercedes-Benz. So that relationship, I believe, continues. I don't know. I haven't had any insights. There's going to be a new QX50 unveiling, or QX50. Yeah, QX50. Is it QX50? There's a new QX going to be coming out in the next little while. Haven't heard much from Infiniti lately, to be honest with you. Keep up the work, regular live shows, and love your reviews. I can't decide between a Charger RT or SRT. Have you done a review, and can you do one? Well, the SRT is definitely going to have a lot more power, and you're talking about a big V8 engine that loves gasoline. I'm a big fan of the Charger and the Chrysler 300. They're really nice cars to drive on a long trip. Great on the highway, comfortable. You know, it shows its age in other areas like the interior and so on. But actual just straight driving dynamics, they're actually very good cars. And quite reliable. Of the Chrysler family, or the FCA family, those vehicles actually score very high when it comes to, quality scores. James is here with a super chat. Monday, at least Zach is on. Well, thank you. Oh, by the way, I'm going to repeat this again. I've decided to roll it back to the original once a week here. So during COVID, we went up to 3 times a week for these live chats. And I decided to go to 2 and now down to 1. If you guys hate it and you just want more, I can always do more. I'm going to try it for a couple of weeks and see how it goes. But yeah, right now we're going to do Mondays, same time. And we'll do that for a few weeks and see how it goes, okay? Hey, Zach, do auto insurance in BC come with uninsured motorist insurance as standard? Yes, you do get underinsured motorist insurance in British Columbia, but you can do what's called an UMP, underinsured motorist protection, for up to, I think it's $2 million. It's $40 a year. I just went through all of this because we just got our new Honda Civic, and we now got it. So it's cheap insurance for $40 a year. But yes, you do get it. How's the new Civic? New Civic's good. It's quite a lot of car, Like the Honda Civic. Interestingly, we're getting a new Honda Civic from Honda in a few weeks, and Andrew and I will do that. So we have our Civic that we just got, a 17, and then the new Civic. It's a Civic hatchback sport, so it's going to be kind of fun to drive that. It's a lot of car for the money, a lot of technology in that car. Nice screen, the lane watch when you turn the signal on, the camera, the right camera pops up in the center screen, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, heated seats, forward collision warning, autonomous braking, lane keep assist, all that kind of stuff in a little compact car. And that's that guy. I phoned my dad in Toronto and I said, "Oh, we just got a Honda Civic." He goes, "Oh, I thought you would have got a Corolla or a Subaru with their advanced safety systems." And I said, "Yeah, well, Honda was the one that actually pushed that first." So yeah, Toyota and Subaru especially did have the eyesight system on their cars, but it was only on a select few cars and only on the top model. When Honda brought out their Honda safety sensing available on the Honda Civic starting in 2016, that really said, now they threw down the gauntlet. We're providing this on our mainline car, and you don't need to spend money to get the very top model in order to get it. And then the next year or 2 years later, they made it standard equipment. Toyota has been much more aggressive with this stuff, but you have to hand it to Honda for starting all of that. I'm just going through some of these. Some people are going back and forth. Nokian makes the best winter tires. They put them on everything. Nokian makes fantastic winter tires. The aggressive winter tire is the Hakkapeliitta. Try and spell that. It's not easy. Hakkapeliitta. Then they have their WR line, which is their all-weather tire. When I used to buy Nokian tires for our cars in British Columbia, I would buy the WR all-weather tire. It was actually just a really good winter tire. So yeah, they make good tires. Toyo makes some great winter tires. There's lots of good brands out there. I would love to see other models from Honda being imported, like the Honda Inspire. There's so many cool cars that car companies make in other parts of the world. Like when you go to Japan, I love it. We were talking about going to Japan on the weekend. I said to friends, we were having dinner, I said, I call it Planet Japan, because there's stuff, like when you go to Europe, there's some similarities with North America, but everything's just a little bit different. But when you go to Japan, everything's totally different. The cars, the houses, the hotel rooms, the food, everything is so different. And they have so many cool cars over there that we just don't get, which is a real shame. Hey, Zach, what's your pick in the compact performance SUV segment between the X3M, the GLC 63 Macan Turbo, or the Stelvio Quattrofoglio? Interestingly, the Stelvio review will come out on Saturday, this Saturday. So just 4 sleeps or so until we get that. And we reference all of these. I would say that the GLC 63S is the monster of the group when it comes to torque, and has the V8 engine and has a sound that you just can't get with the others, because the others are 6 cylinders. So that is kind of you'd have to take that and sort of put it off to one side. So if you're just looking for the biggest, baddest dog in the fight, that's the one you want. And it sounds fantastic and probably won't be repeated, right? So when they bring out the new GLC and they have a high performance version of it, it probably isn't going to be a V8. It's going to be a Turbo 6, like all the rest have become. So if you kind of like that idea, you might want to get one, because they're probably not going to be available again. Like, for example, the C63S sedan, it's already been confirmed that a V8 is not coming in that. It's going to be a Turbo 6. Okay, so that's something to consider. Now, the X3M, in my opinion, is the best all-rounder in terms of just flat-out performance, fantastic handling, but a useful package in size. Back seat is big, good cargo area, nice ergonomics, easy-to-use iDrive system. It does all of that well. However, it is maybe a real rattle and shake show when it comes to bumpy roads. Like it's a suspension that lets you remember that it's always on. And then what were the other ones again? The Macan Turbo is probably just a fantastic option, but not big. And the Stelvio is fantastic. We really enjoyed it. What a wonderful car. However, it's the same thing. It's like the X3. It's kind of always on. It's kind of bumpy, but just a beautiful looking car. Sounds fantastic. There's some good choices there. But the GLC 63S, it stands alone. So that's maybe your answer. Do you think the upcoming hybrid luxury sedans like the 800 horsepower AMG GT73 or Panamera Turbo S will be able to take on the Tesla Model S? Yeah, they might be able to. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. They're going to be relying, in order to do that, heavily on the electrified systems. Okay, so that's the advantage that the full electric cars have, is all of that instant torque, and those other vehicles have to sort of catch up to that. Where they do well is on long road trips, sustained high speed traveling. There's lots of stories of Teslas in Germany on the Autobahn just can't sustain the speeds for a long period of time, where a Porsche or AMG car is designed just for that. Like, that's what it's designed for. Or a car that you're going to be able to just drive for a long period of time at pace, like through the mountains or something like that. A full electric car, obviously you have to charge it up, versus a car that can just stop and fill up and be on its way again in 5 minutes. Yeah, the Taycan would probably be the best sort of comparison to that. But yeah, all roads lead to electric, to be honest with you. Ed is saying, I think Mazda focuses on smaller, good handling cars. Everyone is going for SUVs for room, and all their SUVs have less room than the competition mostly. That is true. That's the one thing that Mazda could certainly do, is bring out some sort of right-sized utilities. Their vehicles are small. They have in Japan, there's another Planet Japan story, they have a CX-8. I believe it's a CX-8. So it's between the CX-5 and the CX-9. And like that would be a perfect vehicle to bring to North America. NFL is going full social justice and not going to do the league any good. Leave politics off the field. Well, there you go. Leave politics out of the live chat. I made it. Miracle of all miracles. I can't stay, but thanks for all that you and Andrea do. Zach, I'll be watching the recorded version after. Well, thank you, David St. Jordi Coronel. Appreciate that. I think that got all right. And by the way, David, Andrea has been appreciating your comments in the videos. That means a lot to her. That people are being nice to Andrea. She certainly has a lot of fans, and yeah, she's doing a fantastic job. Your thoughts on the 2020 Honda Civic Sport Touring Hatchback? Stay tuned. We get it in a few weeks. We're getting that very car in a few weeks. Is there a new Nissan Z coming out? In your opinion, what do they have to do to be successful? I know it's early, but it'll be better than the Supra M2, Mustang GT, etc. Well, first of all, we don't know exactly what the output of the engine is. I know what the engine is. I can't tell you until tomorrow. So just to follow up on that, tomorrow at this time, I will be able to release the Nissan 400Z prototype video. Okay, it's under embargo. All the pictures and images and video are on my computer. I have the press release. I know about it. It's just a prototype. Okay, it is not the production version, but they've said what the engine is going to be. So is it going to be able to compete with those cars? I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. What you're going to see tomorrow is more, here's what it looks like, than anything else. Your thoughts on the Maserati MC20? Some journalists were invited in Montreal for the release this morning. Ah, good for them. I haven't really read up on it yet. I saw the pictures of it, but I haven't really read anything on it yet. What do you think was the biggest flop of the last 10 years, 2010 to 2020? Well, that's a good question for the Hive here. Like, what do you guys think? What was the biggest flop of the last 10 years? What was it? Maybe before 10 years ago. What was the ZDX, the Acura ZDX, the ZDX? That stupid-looking crossover utility that Acura came out with? That may be before 2010, but that thing was a bit of a turd. I have a 2008 Mitsubishi Eclipse GT Spider V6 for a long time, mileage 170,000 K, all normal maintenance, no problems. What do you think of them? It's been super reliable. Well, I think good for you. That's great that you have a super reliable car. I never liked the styling of it. That's just a personal thing. I thought it was kind of over-styled. It had a bit too much going on with it. Oh, this greetings from hazy and smoky New West. Recently purchased a 19 GT Autobahn with manual transmission. Saved $5,000 off with Car Cost Canada. Well done. So if you haven't seen the news, like maybe you watched the news tonight, whether it's the National or whatever, you'll see there's a couple of things here in BC. First of all, we've been covered with smoke because of the forest fires down the coast in Washington, Oregon, and California. Thick smoke. And on top of that, in New West, where you are, they had a big pier fire, massive fire there. So I'm sure it smells like ass over there, but there you go. So you got $5,000 off with Car Cost Canada. Way to go. So that brings in our title sponsor here. Sign up using the promo code Motormouth, and you too can get great savings, like $5,000 off a GTI. What do you think of the new car market numbers in Canada, specifically premium brands in COVID times? The market is coming back. What we're going to see, and I've been saying this for months, premium brands are not going to excel in this department. People, when they're buying, and it's uncertain economic times, people have money, always have money. So they'll be able to buy their new Mercedes or their new Audi or whatever it is. But a lot of people are premium car intenders, meaning they're thought they might want to be a premium car. They might want a 3 Series. They might want to lease something. And then in uncertain times, they go, you know what? I'm just going to go back to the brands that offer value. And brands that have been offering value have been Hyundai and Kia. They've been absolutely shooting the lights out. Some of the best sales they've ever have been during COVID. And then brands that offer a lot of trustworthiness. Brands like Toyota and Honda will also do well because people feel comfortable parking their money with a trusted brand that offers value. Maybe not the cheapest car, but they believe they're getting value in that brand. I think there's going to be a lot of premium car intenders who maybe will just say, well, maybe now's not the time to spring that extra $150, $200 a month to get a premium car. I'll just go back to what I know. That's what I think is happening. TK Porsche, did you watch the F1 GP Saturday? What an expensive demolition derby. No, I don't watch F1 anymore. I kind of lost interest in F1. When I was a kid, where's my cars? Where is it? Gotta find it. Where did I put it? Well, there it is. Hang on a sec. So I've been an F1 fan. I got another one here. Where is it? My dad. I've got an old John Player special car. Like I've been into Formula One when I was a kid. My idol as a driver is Ayrton Senna. I just loved that era when we had Senna, we had Prost, we had Mansell, we had Brundle, we had Schumacher, we had all of those guys. That's when I loved it. Then it became a little bit too predictable. I kind of fell out with it. And I'll tell you when it ended. I used to videotape on VHS the Formula One races because they were very early here on the West Coast. And then I would watch them later in the day. Jack, who you've met here on the live show, when he was a little kid, he screwed up the VHS. And he jammed stuff in there as a little kid. And then it stopped working. And then I never got to record the Formula One. And then I never missed it. And then I never went back. So that's kind of where I am. I just traded an SUV for a 2020 Kia Sedona. I think that minivans are more family friendly, contrary to the trend in the last 20 years. Absolutely. The best vehicle, period, for a family is a minivan. Try and convince women especially that is something they need in their life. Not an easy sell. They'll all tell you they want a new CRV or a RAV4 or a Jeep Grand Cherokee or something SUV-ish. That's what people buy. It is a good van. There are still hardcore van fans. I'm one of them. We used to, when the kids were little, when we used to go on road trips, obviously I have access to all the cars that I can use, a press car, and often I would book in a minivan because it is the best vehicle for moving people around. Biggest flop, a Kia K900. Yeah. It's kind of hard to say that because large car sales like that are just so small. I saw one, by the way. It was parked in front of me just 2 days ago. I was downtown and there was one parked there and I was like, oh, that's the guy who bought that. Oh my God, been over an hour now. All right, there you go. We're all done, friends. Thank you for being here. Once again, the live show is back every Monday, the same time. We'll do it once a week for now. If you guys absolutely hate that idea and you want more, we can always do more. It doesn't take much for me to come down here into my office and do it, but give it a little break. Do it once a week. See how that goes. So once again, in 7 minutes, the video will be going up on the Hyundai Tucson, and then tomorrow around the same time is when you'll see the Nissan 400Z, okay, or Z. Check it out. We'll see you then. If you want to get your pictures on, if you want to send a video like Alex in Israel, it's zach@motormouth.ca. We'll chat with you then. Bye now.